Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Lalema Aneja Dang, and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his Danish counterpart Mette Frederiksen hold delegation-level talks in Copenhagen. Review progress of green strategic partnership between two countries. Prime Minister says more than 200 Danish companies benefiting from increased ease of doing business and economic reforms in India. President Ramnath Kovind lays foundation stone of Bhagwan Mahavir Super Speciality Hospital at Rohini in New Delhi. Union Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani reviews implementation of various central government schemes at Wayanad in Kerala. Election Commission announces schedule for Assembly by-election to one seat each in Odisha, Kerala and Uttarakhand. Portals of the Gangotri and Yamunotri shrines open for devotees on the auspicious occasion of Akshaya Tritiya. Eid-ul-Fitr being celebrated with religious fervour and gaiety across the country. President, Vice President and Prime Minister extend greetings. Second edition of Khelo India University Games concludes in a glittering closing ceremony at Bengaluru. And in IPL cricket, match between Gujarat Titans and Punjab Kings underway at Dr. D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today held delegation-level talks with Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen in Copenhagen of Denmark. Both leaders reviewed the progress of the Green Strategic Partnership, which was the first of its kind arrangement between India and Denmark. The partnership focused on expanding economic ties, green growth, and cooperation on global challenges such as climate change. Ahead of the talks, Prime Minister Modi took a private tour of the official residence of the Danish Prime Minister at Marienborg. Mr. Modi reached Denmark's capital this afternoon for the second leg of his visit to 3 European nations. As a special gesture, Denmark's Prime Minister received Prime Minister Modi at Copenhagen Airport. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "This visit will go a long way in further cementing India-Denmark ties." After holding the delegation-level talks, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address at the joint press meet, said both India and Denmark share values like democracy, freedom of expression and the rule of law, and together they also have several complementary strengths. Mr. Modi mentioned that during the India-Denmark Virtual Summit in October 2020, we gave our relationship the status of a green strategic partnership. And during our today's discussion, we reviewed the joint work plan of our Green Strategic Partnership. The Prime Minister expressed happiness that significant progress has been made in various fields, especially in the areas of renewable energy, health, ports, shipping, circular economy and water management. Mr. Modi said more than 200 Danish companies are working in different sectors in India, and these companies are benefiting from increased ease of doing business and economic reforms in India.
भारत के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेक्टर और ग्रीन इंडस्ट्रीज में डेनिश कंपनीज और डेनिश पेंशन फंड्स के लिए निवेश के लिए बहुत अवसर है। आज हमने भारत ईयू रिश्तों, इंडो पैसिफिक और यूक्रेन सहित कई क्षेत्रीय तथा वैश्विक मुद्दों पर भी बातचीत की। हम आशा करते हैं कि इंडिया ईयू फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट, उस पर नेगोशिएशंस यथाशीघ्र संपन्न होंगे। हमने एक फ्री, ओपन, इंक्लूसिव और रूल बेस्ड इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र को सुनिश्चित करने पर जोर दिया।
Mr. Modi also called for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine and taking the path of dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the problem.
हमने यूक्रेन में तत्काल युद्ध विराम और समस्या के समाधान के लिए बातचीत और कूटनीति का रास्ता अपनाने की अपील की। हमने क्लाइमेट के क्षेत्र में अपने सहयोग पर भी चर्चा की। भारत ग्लासगो COP26 में लिए गए संकल्पों को पूरा करने के लिए भी प्रतिबद्ध है। हम आर्किटेक्ट क्षेत्र में सहयोग के अधिक अवसर तलाशने पर सहमत हुए हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, मुझे विश्वास है कि आपके नेतृत्व में भारत और डेनमार्क के संबंध नई ऊंचाई प्राप्त करेंगे।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, "We also discussed our cooperation in the field of climate and have agreed to explore more opportunities for cooperation in the Arctic region." He said, "India is also committed to fulfilling the resolutions taken at the Glasgow COP26. In her address at the joint press meet, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said that both the sides had a very productive meeting today. She said the relations between India and Denmark are very strong. She added that we are moving fast in transforming our green strategic partnership into some concrete results. Earlier, several agreements were inked between the two countries in various sectors. These include a letter of intent between the Ministry of Jal Shakti and Danish Ministry of Environment on cooperation on safe and secure water, including on a centre of excellence and smart laboratories in India. Besides, declaration of intent on migration and mobility, letter of intent between Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways and Ministry of Business, Industry and Financial Affairs of Denmark on Centre of Excellence in Green Shipping and Cultural Exchange Programme between the Ministries of Cultures of the two countries for the years 2022 to 2026 were also signed. MOU on cooperation in the field of skill development, vocational education and entrepreneurship, a joint declaration of intent on cooperation in the fields of animal husbandry and dairying, and letter of intent between Invest India and Technical University of Denmark to facilitate startup collaboration. Later in the evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen participated in India-Denmark Business Forum with top business leaders from the two countries. Now we will take you over live to Copenhagen, where Prime Minister Modi is addressing the Indian diaspora.
उनका पहनावा, खान-पान भले ही अलग-अलग हो, लेकिन हमारी सोशल हार्मनी, वननेस और को एग्जिस्टेंस की जो वैल्यूज सभी भारतीयों में एक समान है और यही हमारी ताकत है। और जिनकी रूट्स किसी भी तरह मां भारती से जुड़ी हैं, वे स्वाभाविक तरह से लोकतंत्र और रूल ऑफ लॉ के प्रति सम्मान रखते ही हैं।
Prime Minister Modi will also call on Queen Margaret II. The visit will provide both sides an opportunity to shape new elements of partnership in the field of skill development, shipping, agri-technology and mobility. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister will participate in the second India-Nordic Summit along with Prime Ministers of Denmark, Iceland, Finland, Sweden and Norway. The summit will be hosted by Denmark. The summit will focus on subjects like post-pandemic economic recovery, climate change, innovation and technology, renewable energy, the evolving global security scenario and India-Nordic cooperation in the Arctic region. Nordic countries are important partners for India in sustainability, renewable energy, digitization and innovation. The visit will help in expanding India's multifaceted cooperation with the Nordic region. During the last leg of the tour, the Prime Minister will briefly stop over in Paris and meet French President Emmanuel Macron. The visit to France will provide an opportunity to carry forward the high-level engagement between the two countries post the French presidential elections.
Slovakia's energy minister says the country is not ready to join the European Union embargo on imports of Russian oil as part of a new package of sanctions to be imposed on Russia for its military action. Slovakia is almost fully dependent on Russian oil it receives through Soviet-era Druzhba pipeline. Economy Minister Richard Sulik told reporters today that the sole Slovak refiner, Slovnaft, cannot immediately switch from Russian crude to any different oil. To change the technology would take several years, he said. European Union leaders are debating new proposals for sanctions, which would include a phased-in embargo on oil. The 27-member countries are likely to start debating the plans tomorrow, but it could be several days before the measures enter force.
President Ramnath Kovind will embark on a 4-day visit to Assam and Mizoram from today. The President will address the 61st annual conference of Bodo Sahitya Sabha at Tamulpur in Assam tomorrow. He will also grace the valedictory function of Northeast Festival at Guwahati, organized by the Ministry of Donor as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. On Thursday, the President will address the 16th convocation of the Mizoram University at Aizawl. President Ramnath Kovind today laid the foundation stone of Bhagwan Mahavir Super Speciality Hospital at Rohini in New Delhi. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Kovind said, laying the foundation stone on the occasion of Akshay Tritiya is very auspicious. He said, acts of service are given due prominence in Jainism.
50 बिस्तरों वाले इस अस्पताल में 250 बिस्तरों की व्यवस्था के साथ अति आधुनिक हॉस्पिटल बनाने की योजना है, जिसे वर्ष 2023 तक पूरा करने का लक्ष्य। यह प्रसन्नता का विषय है कि इस सुपर स्पेशलिटी अस्पताल में उच्च स्तरीय स्वास्थ्य सेवाएं समाज के सभी वर्गों को किफायती दरों पर तथा गरीबों को निःशुल्क उपलब्ध कराई जाने की योजना है। सेवा धर्म का पालन करते हुए कोविड-19 महामारी के दौरान हमारे स्वास्थ्य कर्मियों, डॉक्टरों और नर्सों ने अपनी जान जोखिम में डालकर देशवासियों की सेवा की एक मिसाल कायम की। आज भी ध्यान रखना है कि अभी कोविड पूरी तरह समाप्त नहीं हुआ है। मैं सभी देशवासियों से पूर्णतः सतर्क रहने तथा सरकार द्वारा दिए गए सभी दिशा निर्देशों का पालन करने की अपील भी करता हूं।
Union Minister of Women and Child Development Smriti Irani today observed that much more needs to be done in aspirational districts like Wayanad to ensure ease of better living, strengthening of infrastructure and delivery of services to the people. The Union Minister was addressing a press conference this evening at Wayanad in Kerala after holding a review meeting with district officials on the implementation of various central government schemes. Underlining the need for better coordination and cooperation between various government entities, the minister noted that the people of the district were not satisfactorily receiving proper state support or subsidies. She observed that the tribal population in Wayanad is faced with sickle cell anemia and urged the district administration to hold anemia screening for the entire female tribal population. Earlier, the minister visited a couple of Anganwadis and tribal settlements as part of a one-day tour. India has achieved monthly value of merchandise export of $38.19 billion in the last month. It shows an increase of around 24% as compared to the export registered in the same period last year. Value of the non-petroleum exports in the last month was $30.46 billion, registering a growth of 12.32% in export against the corresponding period last year. On the other hand, value of non-petroleum and non-gems and jewelry exports in the last month was $27.16 billion, registering a growth of 14.38% as compared to the exports registered in the same period last year. Petroleum products 113.21%, electronic goods 64.04%, and chemicals 26.71% led the way in high increase in exports during last month.
The Election Commission has announced the schedule for by-election to 3 assembly constituencies in Odisha, Kerala and Uttarakhand. The by-election to Brajraj Nagar constituency in Odisha, Trikkakara seat in Kerala and Champavat constituency in Uttarakhand will be held on the 31st of this month. The Election Commission said counting of votes will take place on the 3rd of next month. The Gazette notification for the election will be issued tomorrow and the last date of submission of nomination for these seats is the 11th of May.
You're listening to the Evening News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his Danish counterpart Mette Frederiksen, hold delegation-level talks in Copenhagen. Review progress of green strategic partnership between two countries. Prime Minister says more than 200 Danish companies benefiting from increased ease of doing business and economic reforms in India. President Ramnath Kovind lays foundation stone of Bhagwan Mahavir Super Speciality Hospital in Rohini in New Delhi. Union Minister of Women and Child Development Smriti Irani reviews implementation of various central government schemes at Wayanad in Kerala. Election Commission announces schedule for assembly by-election to 1 seat each in Odisha, Kerala and Uttarakhand. Portals of Gangotri and Yamunotri shrines open for the devotees on the auspicious occasion of Akshay Tritiya, Eid al-Fitr, being celebrated with religious fervour and gaiety across the country. President, Vice President and Prime Minister extend greetings. Second edition of Khelo India University Games concludes in glittering closing ceremony at Bengaluru, and an IPL cricket match between Gujarat Titans and Punjab Kings underway at Dr. D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। इस बार का विषय है पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 4 मई। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 189 crore 46 lakh mark. More than 3 lakh vaccine doses were administered today. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said more than 3 crore 75 lakh vaccine doses have been administered to 12 to 14 years age group so far. Over 2 crore 86 lakh precaution doses have been administered to the identified categories of beneficiaries, including healthcare workers, frontline workers, and people above 18 years of age. And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
যদি বা কোন চাবুকের দিনে তোমার মুষ্টি জাগে, যেন তোমার রক্ত মিছিলে নেতাজি পুরো ভাগে, যেন তোমার রক্ত মিছিলে নেতাজি পুরো ভাগে।
On the 3rd of May 1939, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose declared the formation of the Forward Bloc. It emerged as a faction within the Indian National Congress after Netaji's resignation from the presidency of the Indian National Congress in 1939.
Its constitution and program was adopted on the 22nd of June 1939 at its first All India session in Bombay, now Mumbai. In his presidential address, Subhash Chandra gave the concrete plan of action for winning Purna Swaraj in the immediate future.
After the great escape of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on the 17th of January 1941, Forward Bloc leaders and workers came under sharp torture and humiliation. A huge number of them were put in jails and confined.
Forward Bloc was declared banned in June 1942. Forward Bloc, even when it was declared illegal, supported the Quit India movement in 1942. On the national level, leaders of the party like Sardul Singh, Sheila Bhadra, H.V. Kamath, R.S. Ruikar, K.N. Joglekar, Mukundalal Sarkar, U. Mutturamalingam Tevan were noteworthy.
After independence, the party re-established itself as an independent political party with the main stronghold in West Bengal.
We commemorate freedom fighter Jwala Prasad, who was executed by the British on the 3rd of May 1860. He belonged to Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh, and took a prominent part in the First War of Indian Independence. He led the army at Kanpur and fought in several engagements against the British forces.
He became the chief lieutenant of Nana Sahib and was also present at Satti Chaura Ghat with Tantia Tope, Azimullah Khan, Bala Sahib and Tikka Singh when the British were leaving Kanpur. He was captured by the British and sentenced to death. He was executed on the gallows of Satti Chaura Ghat, Kanpur, on the 3rd of May 1860. We salute this great martyr.
We also remember revolutionary freedom fighter Sushil Chandra Kumar Sen Gupta, who was martyred on the 3rd of May 1915. He was born in December 1892 in Assam and later moved to Kolkata, West Bengal. During the trial of Aurobindo Ghosh in the Alipur bomb case, when a sergeant was caning a group of agitated persons, Sushil hit him and was caned for that. For his being a member of the Maniktala group of revolutionaries, he had been set up in the Alipur bomb case, but was acquitted.
After his release, Sushil Chandra took part in the Baliaghat raid in Kolkata and in the assassination of informer Nirod Haldar in February 1915. On the 3rd of May 1915, he took part in the Khalilpur raid in Nadia, where 2 sub-inspectors and some constables tried to stop them. Sushil Chandra was shot dead by the police in the clash that ensued. We salute the great martyr.
We also remember revolutionary freedom fighter Jagdish Chandra Rai, who was martyred on the 3rd of May 1931. A resident of Dera Ismail Khan, Northwest Frontier Province, he came to Delhi and joined the revolutionary movement. He was killed in an encounter with the police in a bus near Shalimar Bagh, Lahore, on the 3rd of May 1931. We salute the great martyr.
We also remember Indian National Army member Kesari Chand Sharma, who was executed by the British on the 3rd of May 1945. A resident of Delhi, Kesari Chand was captured by the British forces during fighting near Imphal on the Burmese front. He was tried for waging war against the King Emperor in December 1944 and sentenced to death by a court-martial. He was executed in Delhi jail on the 3rd of May 1945. We salute this great son of the soil.
We also remember martyr Bhagat Himbaram, who took part in the Quit India movement and Lathi Pahar agitation. Born at Santhal Parganas in Jharkhand, Bhagat was arrested on the 9th of May 1943 and jailed for 3 years. He died in Rajmahal jail on the 3rd of May 1944. We salute the great son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Fssai has launched Food Safety Connect app for food business operators and consumers. Download this app from Google Play Store and easily apply for Fssai registration. Consumers can use this app to register food-related complaints.
In Uttarakhand, the portals of Gangotri and Yamunotri Dham have been opened for the devotees on the auspicious occasion of Akshay Tritiya today. A large number of devotees were present on the occasion. With the opening of these portals, Char Dham Yatra has started in the state. In view of the Yatra, the administration has made all the preparations and heavy police force has been deployed for the security. The portals of Kedarnath Dham will be opened for the devotees on Friday, while the portals of Badrinath Dham will be opened on Sunday, for which preparations are in full swing.
The 21-day-long Chandan Jatra of Lord Jagannath and his siblings in the holy city of Puri in Odisha commences this evening on the occasion of Akshay Tritiya. Also, as per the tradition, the work for construction of the 3 chariots begins on this day. All preparations have been made for the Chandan Jatra this year. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha today took part in the Bhumi Pujan of Yatri Nivas of Sri Amarnath Ji Shrine Board at Pantha Chowk in the outskirts of Srinagar city. The new facility will fulfill a long-pending demand of all stakeholders, organizations associated with the Yatra, devotees from across the country and abroad. It will be built over 25 canal land, and once the Yatri Nivas is completed, it would cater to more than 3,000 pilgrims.
In Uttarakhand, Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, unveiled the statue of Brahmalin Mahant Avaidyanath in the premises of Guru Gorakhnath Mahavidyalaya at Yamkeshwar Pauri Garhwal today. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, State Education Minister Dr. Dhan Singh Rawat and other BJP leaders were also present on this occasion. Eid ul-Fitr is being celebrated with religious fervour and gaiety across the country today. The festival marks the culmination of the fasting month of Ramzan. People dressed in their best offered Eid prayers in Eidgahs and grand mosques with full capacity for the first time after relaxation of restrictions imposed due to the COVID pandemic. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted people on the occasion.
In Rajasthan, the situation is tense but controlled in Jodhpur after the incidents of group clashes there. Curfew has been imposed by the administration in 10 police station areas of the city till tomorrow night. Top officials, including 2 members of the State Council of Ministers, have reached Jodhpur to take stock of the situation. Union Minister for Jal Shakti and Jodhpur MP Gajendra Singh Shekhawat visited the violence-hit areas and met people. Chief Minister Mr. Ashok Gehlot appealed to the people to maintain peace and de-escalation of tension. He has directed to take strict action against anti-social elements. As a countdown to the 8th International Yoga Day on the 21st of June, a program of Common Yoga Protocol was organized today by the Ministries of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs. Events were held at 75 places by the 2 ministries, including certain locations abroad. The session was attended virtually by the Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs, Shri Hardeep Singh Puri from New Delhi, while the Minister of State for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Rameshwar Teli, joined from Asia's first and world's oldest refinery, Big Boy Refinery. This year, as the nation celebrates Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to mark the 75th year of independence, Ministry of Ayush has initiated a 100-day countdown program starting from the 13th of March with the participation of 100 different organizations.
The second edition of the Khelo India University Games was bid farewell in a glittering closing ceremony marked by cultural fest, yoga and laser show in Bengaluru today. The closing ceremony was graced by Union Minister Amit Shah, among other dignitaries. In his address on the occasion, Mr. Amit Shah foresaw a possibility of India making it to the top 5 countries in the medal tally of any international sporting event by 2047, when India celebrates its 100 years of independence.
ओलंपिक में और पैरा ओलंपिक में जब हमारे खिलाड़ी मेडल लेकर आते हैं तो पूरे भारत के 130 करोड़ लोगों की छाती गज गज फूल जाती है और देश भर में फटक। ये परिवर्तन 2014 से 2022 के अल्प कालावधि में आया है और ये आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव है। मैं स्पष्ट रूप से आगे का रोड मैप दे सकता हूं जो मोदी जी ने बनाया है। देश जब 2047 में आजादी की शताब्दी बनाएगा, ओलंपिक की मेडल की तालिका में भारत 1 से 5 नंबर के बीच में गौरव के साथ खड़ा हुआ दिखाई पड़ेगा।
The Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur appreciated the government of Karnataka and host Jain University for organizing the event at par with World University Games.
In IPL cricket, Gujarat Titans were 108 for 4 in 16 overs against Punjab Kings at the Dr. D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai when reports last came in. Earlier, Gujarat won the toss and opted to bat first. Last night, Kolkata Knight Riders defeated Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have dust storm or thunderstorm. Temperature will hover between 27 and 39 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chennai to have a partly cloudy sky. Srinagar, Jammu and Muzaffarabad will have thunderstorm with rain. Leh will have partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm.
And now the headlines again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his Danish counterpart Mette Frederiksen, hold delegation-level talks in Copenhagen, review progress of green strategic partnership between 2 countries. Prime Minister says more than 200 Danish companies benefiting from increased ease of doing business and economic reforms in India. President Ramnath Kovind lays foundation stone of Bhagwan Mahavir Super Speciality Hospital at Rohini, New Delhi. Union Minister of Women and Child Development Smriti Irani reviews implementation of various central government schemes at Wayanad in Kerala. Election Commission announces schedule for assembly by-election to 1 seat each in Odisha, Kerala and Uttarakhand. Portals of the Gangotri and Yamunotri shrines open for devotees on the auspicious occasion of Akshaya Tritiya. And Eid ul-Fitr being celebrated with religious fervour and gaiety across the country. And in IPL cricket, match between Gujarat Titans and Punjab Kings underway at Dr. D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.